We have Miss Anneliese Rennie waiting in the green room. Let's bring her in. Let's bring Mr. Steve Campbell in. All right, what's up, guys? Now, speaking of competitors, we have Anneliese Rennie here. She runs her own audiobook production company called Spectrum, right?
I do, yes.
Right.
So thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Of course. We're all friends here. So,
Yeah.
Ray, tell us about your new book.
It is a homage, if you will. I don't like to say the word homage. So it's an homage to all of my favorite horror movies that I've grown up watching or even reading books, that sort of thing. I didn't get to throw everything in, but I tried as best I could, especially in the beginning scenes where the character mutilation chapter, rather than character creation, it's the character mutilation. I tried to put in as much as I could to show my love of horror. At the same time, I want to say this is a horror novel, but it's just as much lit RPG. So if you get past the initial scary stuff after the character mutilation thing, it really feels more like a lit RPG novel set with, rather than dwarves and kobolds, werewolves and zombies. That's it. So that's the big difference between it. But it really it has a lot of things in it that I wanted to say. I love this stuff. This is what I want to say. Should be done and how it should be done and what I want to read. And it's basically about a guy who gets stuck into the game. It's trapped in the game novel without really being trapped in the game. So he gets stuck in the game, and the goal is he's trapped by the mafia, the Chechnyan mafia, and they try to break him in the game so that he will talk and tell them where he has taken and placed their money, because he's stolen money from them, like about $500,000 worth of cash US. And what they do is they put you into the game, and they can either get information or they can tell you wipe out your personality and rewrite you so that you will do what they want you to do. So if you work for a bank, they can have you go in and take whatever you want out. So it's a really insidious little thing that they kind of use to help them do what they want to do and get people into power and positions of power. And Ramsden is just a street punk who kind of outwitted them and stole money, but they caught him, and now they're trying to make him talk. And he can't talk, because if he does, then someone who he loves is going to die, basically.
This sounds like so much fun. What is that thing?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, okay. What is the inspiration of that blobby thing? Is that the stuff?
No.
That's the stuff or the blob?
Well, the one in the back is the blob. Yeah. No.
Okay,
so,
it's the blob.
so basically,
I totally thought it was the stuff.
Yeah, no. One of my favorite all-time movies, and I probably watched this movie. I mean, seriously, if I've watched it once, I've watched it 1,000 times. Is John Carpenter's The Thing?
Oh,
so that is like an assimilator, and they're not the same. I've made sure in the book that it's very different from what that is. They're very similar, but it's an assimilator. So they take over your body and do things. It's kind of a combination of the pod people from Invasion of the Body Snatchers and The Thing in there, but that's what that is a combination. But everything else that's on that cover is in the book.
Oh wow,
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so and you have hired Spectrum Audio to do the audiobook, is that right?
No, they signed me.
Oh, they signed you. They came after you. All right, I see how this works. Well, you guys Anneliese, tell us a little bit more about Spectrum.
All right. Well, not only are we doing the audio for this, but we also are distributing the print and the ebook. And
Nice.
I just got the paperbacks today, and they look beautiful.
Wow.
And Joshua Mason did an amazing job on the layout. I have to give Josh props. He is the man. Yeah. He's really, really good. And so
you got one of them. You got one of them with you right now?
Shoot. I can go get one if somebody wants to chat for a second. I didn't.
Yeah, run, get one.
Yeah. Okay.
Steve, you tell us a little bit more. Now, Steve, are you going to be the official narrator on this one, and Anneliese is just playing characters?
This has actually been an interesting project because I saw her announcing that they were going to be doing the book through Spectrum and all this stuff like this. And I was like, wait, what? Ray's done a full-length feature book? This is amazing. I must see if I can be involved. So I reached out to Ray and Anneliese, and I was like, how can I be the narrator for this? I want to be the narrator for this. And then I found out, I didn't even know what the book was about. And I was like, Ray's involved, I'm getting involved. And so then Ray was like, Anneliese is covering all of this kind of stuff. And so I talked with Anneliese, and she says, I'm doing the narration for this book, but I think we want to do it as a duet. So we had talked about possibly having that work out. And so now we're doing this as a duet. So I'm doing all the male characters. She's doing the female characters. And then we have someone else doing the narration.
Oh, wow.
The narrative.
So who's going to be narrating?
Right. And if I can jump in for just a second, one thing I'll say is when I put this on Royal Road back in 2018, the first chapter came out, Anneliese, like right after it came out, she was like, hey, I love this story. I want to do this. Can we do this? And she went back in her booth and she recorded the entire first chapter and was like, this is what we're going to do. We need to do this. And I said, okay, let's give it a little time because I'm working with somebody else right now on another thing and I want to get that out first. But she was right there immediately. And so right after she did that, I was like, you know what? I've got this character Blair and I love Blair. And I wrote Blair specifically for Anneliese. So when you hear Blair, I've always had Anneliese's voice in my head for that character. So.
Excellent.
That's awesome.
So thank you so much for that. What's that?
Who is going to be the main narrator on this one?
So we're actually going to kind of mix it up. So we're going to have a narrator, and then Steve is going to do all the male dialogue, and I will do Blair and the other female dialogue. So we're bringing in Tor Tom to do that. He is phenomenal with Russian. Yeah. So I wanted to make
narrating
sure
with a Russian accent.
We haven't gotten to that part of the decision making yet. I think Steve and Tor and I all need to sit down and have a chat. So, we need to do that. We're early in the process.
Right.
But I did like my really fast cardio workout. Ran down 2 flights of stairs to get that's 500 pages, people. That's 500 pages.
Big thick tome right there.
It is. It is.
You worked hard on this. Oh, jeez. Wait, we can't see. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Yeah, you gotta light a little bit. Very nice. Very nice.
Joshua did a really phenomenal job. Some lovely blood spatters on the back here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Need the blood splatters.
Oh yeah.
For sure. Well, okay, so Spectrum, you guys don't just do the audiobook then. You help out with all the whole publication
We're
process?
Just starting to go down that road. When I first started, it was going to be all audio, but I have some authors who just say, you know what, I just want to write and I don't want to deal with having to upload to Amazon or deal with Findaway or some of the other, distribution platforms. And so I said, okay, well, yeah, we can do it. So this is something that we're just sort of starting to do.
Wow. Great.
And,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So
I'm glad that everyone's finding their ways to, provide more services and make this indie market function just a little bit more smoothly. So thanks guys for everything that you're doing. Thanks for asking to come on because I'm excited to show off Raymond's stuff. I'm excited to have you guys as guests. Are you both going to be playing Gary's games with us tonight?
Oh my gosh, I am new to this, so someone will have to fill me in on
Gary's games is our improv game. It's
all
game.
Improv. The less we know, the better. But I have the game rules written out in front of me, so it's all good fun.
Okay.
He never actually shows the game rules. He claims he has them written out.
He just makes them up.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, let's get some nightmare game system going on here.
Right.
So you guys wanted me to narrate. Any preferences on accent, voice? What do you guys want me to do?
Very strong Russian. In Soviet Russia, book narrate you.
Yeah, exactly. I can do that if you want.
You
What
probably
you want, Ray?
shouldn't ruin this book.
I would say dealer's choice on this one. So
Dealer's choice. Well, I guess would Raymond be the dealer? I think Ray's the dealer.
well, it's your show, so
I always defer to the narrator anyway. So.
All right. Well, I'm gonna try and be as horror-y as I possibly can. Not slutty.
okay.
Horror-y. Jeez, you guys are so dirty. All right. All right. Well, here
It's
goes.
long hair. It's got me all confused. I don't know what to do with myself.
All right. So we're starting right after a respawn
Correct.
of Ramzan. Ramzan. Okay. All right. I'm gonna do my deep madness narration. I'm having fun with that lately. Ramzan awoke, strapped to a chair in a room similar to where Stanislav had taken him. His abdomen ached and still dripped blood, although he was, for the most part, whole once again. The air was cool and musty, and something moved behind him. Blair stepped into the light and gave him a lopsided smile.
Look at you go, little man. Even now you aren't screaming for me to set you free.
A pack of cigarettes appeared in the being's hand. It put the blue box near its mouth, lit the smoke, and drew it from the pack like a blade from a sheath.
Most people are already begging me to let them go by this point.
Blair mumbled around the butt.
They spill secrets we didn't even ask about. Not you, though. You just endure everything with a dash of stoicism and stupidity.
What is the point of all this?
Ramzan asked.
Honestly, I'm never gonna talk. No matter what you do, no matter how long I'm in here, I'll never break.
No matter how long you're in here.
The genderless figure covered its mouth as it giggled like a schoolgirl.
How long do you think you've been in the game so far? Rough estimate is fine. I like it rough. Give me a guess, Hot Nuts.
Ramzan considered everything he'd been through. It had felt like hours, or even days, but it had all happened so fast, one thing right after the other, that it was hard to estimate a solid time frame.
I don't know.
He stated blankly.
My best guess is somewhere in the ballpark of a few hours.
Blair blew smoke from its nose in a long, steady stream, having lit up when Ramzan wasn't looking.
You've been in the tutorial for 5 minutes.
Ramzan's stomach dropped.
You're lying. There's no way that everything I've been through has happened in 5 minutes.
Blair took a long drag off the cigarette, and then placed it between the first two fingers of Ramzan's right hand, who stared blankly at the smoldering coffin nail.
I don't smoke.
I don't care if you do or you don't. I'm going to teach you a lesson about time compression. See, this game taps into your dream state. Dreams take seconds to occur, but often feel like they've lasted all night long to those who can remember them.
Blair pointed a finger at Ramzan, and his hands were suddenly free of whatever bindings had held them. His right hand drifted over his left forearm and held the burning ember to his exposed flesh. He tried to stop it, but it felt like he was watching someone else's hand. The pain was intense, like a blowtorch burning into his arm. He writhed and struggled, but he couldn't pull the cigarette away. The burning continued, spreading outward in a spiraling arc that took over his whole arm, going from licking his arm to biting out chunks of his flesh and gnawing on them. The burning continued for days, until he knew that his arm was little more than a red-hot cinder. Arm-shaped ashes that had not yet collapsed to the ground. After an eternity, the pain stopped. He opened his eyes. His arm was unharmed, and the cigarette was gone. Blair sat across from him, in a padded chair of red velvet cloth and gilded wood, reminiscent of a throne. Delicate legs stretched out and crossed at the ankles.
That all took place in about the span of 1 second of real time. Not that it mattered to you. In here, outside time doesn't mean anything at all. The point being that no matter how tough you think you are, you will crack. Everyone does eventually. You are, after all, only human.
How?
Ramson gasped.
How was that only 1 second of time?
Blair gave him a slanted grin.
I told you the game taps into the part of your brain known as the pons. In a nutshell, you're having a prolonged nightmare. Hence the name of this wonderful place, NGS, the Nightmare Game System. Dreams don't flow in the same time frame as conscious reality. So our players get to enjoy getting the shit scared out of them for much longer than gamers in other MMORPGs. And you?
The sexually ambiguous being poked a finger at Ramson's chest.
Get to reap the benefits of all the extra time, you lucky dog.
Then, through no conscious action of his own, Ramson suddenly stood before Blair.
That was the end of the tutorial,
Blair said so icily that it practically froze Ramson's blood.
I have assigned you a class and some skills based on your performance so far.
The fey-like creature paused.
You know, you really should have fought back. Fortunately for you, we don't have a pussy class.
Blair waited for Ramson to say something in his defense, but he only stared at his guide with dead eyes.
I am the game's AI, and will always be watching you. I'll assign you various skills and abilities based on your gameplay. Don't worry, you'll figure them out. The point of the game, from your perspective, is to stay alive as long as you can. You're facing an impossible dream, if you think you can do it.
Do what?
Stay alive.
Blair said plainly before continuing on with the "Welcome to the game" speech.
You will be inserted into various nightmare scenarios, and the only way to escape is to move to the next. In other words, if you find yourself on a boat surrounded by sharks, then you need to make your way to an island where some other horrible thing will be waiting for you. You will be partnered with other players to see who can survive the longest. Survival equals rewards. Death means that you will respawn and start all over again. It will go on like that until you physically die, at which point you become a permanent player, or you tell those nice Chechen people what they want to know. So, you see, you're in control here in a sense. Fight them and die, or tell them and die, your choice. Now, pull up your character sheet, look it over, and when you are ready, open this door.
Ramson noticed a rusted steel door that had a lever rather than a knob.
How do I pull up my character sheet?
Just think about it, and it will fill your vision. Dismiss it the same way.
Ramson did as Blair explained, and a black and white page filled his vision. Name: Ramson Pavlov. 5'11", 175 pounds. Class: Victim. Level: 1. Health points: 2,000. Sanity points: 10. Attributes: Strength: 5. Agility: 5. Body: 6. Mind: 7. Charm: 4. Luck: 7. Will: 7. Resistance: 7. Abilities: none. Gear: none. Are we going through 26? Sorry.
If you want to do 1,500 words, then yeah.
Okay. He wondered why the abilities section was left blank, and he had no idea if his attributes were out of 10, 20, or even 100. He wasn't a weak man, so he guessed the scores were out of 10. He could account for the low score in charm. He wasn't very good-looking. As a child, he'd been in multiple fights and had lost the teeth and repeatedly broken nose to show for it. On top of that, he was unapologetically antisocial. He couldn't stand people, and had never cared what they thought of him. He was disappointed that he had no gear, not so much as a pocket knife. That meant that he was going to have to scrounge to find a weapon, and probably food too, if this game had survival elements. Ramson wasn't a hardcore gamer, but he knew that there were games out there that factored in hunger, thirst, and sleep, in addition to fighting off hordes of zombies or whatever the game was about. Blair had made it clear that this was a survival game and intimated that his goal was not to kill the big bad, but to escape it. But the game was not designed for him to go against the mother of the day and win. He hadn't been able to stop the sharks, and he hadn't been given a chance to free himself from the electric chair.
I'm assuming the attributes define my physical and mental capabilities?
Ramson studied his character sheet intently, his eyes lingering at the numbers beside his attributes.
Well, look at the big brain on the Ram Man.
The metrosexual cooed.
I bet you like to ram it in.
Blair paused and studied Ramson's face. Seeing him recoil was apparently enough to satisfy the AI, and the avatar of malice began to clue Ramson in to how the game worked. I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All
Cool.
right.
Woo!
Fun. All right. So
Sounds like a book.
I hope that has convinced people to scoop up the Kindle version of your book. People here listening, go buy it. Nightmare
Please.
Game System by Raymond Johnson.
Yes.
And watch out, because Anneliese, Steve Campbell, and what was the other narrator's name one more time?
Poor Tom.
Tor Tom will be creating the audiobook for you guys, and that should be out 2-3 months.
Yeah. Less than that. Couple months.
Just watch out, guys. Keep an eye on Sound Booth Theater Live's Facebook group. We will announce. Ray, just let me know. We'll get it posted for you. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's the Nightmare Game System. So thanks again, guys, for bringing that in. Beautiful.
Great job, Matt. Great job.
All right. So our next thing, Ray.